Hi there, and thank you for coming again to another video of mine on my YouTube channel here. Today, I'm wearing my guayabera. Why? Well, I was actually filming videos for the university I teach at on bankruptcy, of course. And of course, I don't want to wear the same thing all the time, so I said I'm going to wear my guayabera. So this is, of course, the traditional Cuban shirt that men wear, the short sleeve, long sleeve. I have a few of them. And of course, you gotta have the cigar if you're gonna have a guayabera. It's just the way it's done, right? Part of the Cuban culture. But why do Cuban men wear guayaberas? Very simple, because it's refreshing, it's linen, the air comes through, a little breeze can come in. It's 187 degrees outside right now, so I'm inside trying to cool down. So of course I gotta wear my guayabera. I gotta have my cigar that I'll smoke later today when the sun goes down. Go outside and enjoy myself. But let's get down to business. Why are you here today? Because I'm going to talk about the adversary process. Now, the original blog post you'll see down there below, I'll go ahead and I'll post a link so you can read it, has to do with Rudy Giuliani's case. Rudy Giuliani, the guy that just keeps giving, it's not one thing, it's another with him. His bankruptcy case is going in not the direction that he wants. There'll be another blog post on that dealing with him, where now they're asking for a bankruptcy trustee that's going to get granted. Now, in case you've been watching other videos and listening to the podcast or just reading my blogs, what do you mean a trustee is going to be appointed? I thought a trustee was always appointed. So if you caught on that, good catch. You're gonna be an excellent student in one of my bankruptcy courses, or you're just going to be an expert in bankruptcy altogether, if not a bankruptcy lawyer. But here's the key. If you file Chapter 7 and Chapter 13, right, the two most common types of bankruptcy, you're going to get a trustee automatically guaranteed assigned to your case. Chapter 11, maybe. We don't know. Just depends on the situation. Chapter 11 has what they call a creditors committee, which is to protect it's the unsecured creditor to make sure that they get their fair share. So it's not an automatic appointment. Could the judge do it? Of course, judges do what they want. They have the authority, right? Or in Giuliani's case, it's asked for, and so that's where he's going with his case now. But today I'm going to focus on the adversary process. Now, the adversary process is really simple enough. If I had to give you a figure, I'll tell you less than 10% of bankruptcy cases are contested. Bankruptcy is kind of black and white. It's pretty straightforward. So more sunlight coming in. It's 5 o'clock. You see what the weather is like now. In 10 minutes, there'll be a huge storm. 6 inches of water gets dumped on me, and then it goes back to this. So when you're dealing with bankruptcy, for the most part, there's not an issue. But then you file, or so a creditor could file what's called an adversary process, and all that is a contested bankruptcy. Why are they contesting it? I don't know. Depends on the facts of the case. Could be something as simple as this debt's not dischargeable. Why? Well, because you got a loan 2 weeks before you filed for bankruptcy for 10 grand, and now you're turning around and filing for bankruptcy on this loan. That's not the way it works. So that's how the process works. You could always contest it. Anybody can contest a bankruptcy. No, not anybody. You have to be a creditor. You have to be a party to the case. Where you're guaranteed to have an adversary process, student loans. Student loans are not going to get discharged in bankruptcy. They have to go through the bankruptcy, through the adversary process. Will things change? Maybe one day things will change. But for now, that's the deal. Now, Giuliani's case, different. Why? Because not all debt can be discharged in bankruptcy. And I'll put another blog post on that as well. It's probably the second or third blog post I ever did. People think, oh, I can just wipe out everything in bankruptcy. No, you can't. There are certain debts that cannot be discharged. Giuliani's case is that's what one of the things that they are arguing. His bankruptcy is because of a $148 million defamation lawsuit against those two election workers. It was the mother and the daughter, where he accused them of being part of election fraud. It wasn't true. It was all made up. Talk about disinformation and fake news. But he did it. He got sued and he lost. That forced his hand, and now where he's having to file for bankruptcy to try to wipe out that debt. But that's where the adversary comes in. The lawyers for the two poll workers are saying, I'm not going to say their name because they've taken enough abuse already out there. Um, the problem is that is considered an intentional tort. And so because of that, that's not going to be dischargeable in bankruptcy. So what happened? The creditors came in and now they're arguing that's an intentional tort. It's not dischargeable in bankruptcy. And so now starts the litigation process on that unless they can reach an agreement outside of court. But there you go. That's what the adversary process is. Sometimes it's just filed. I had one filed because the trustee just wasn't sure if a client of mine was involved in a business. Turns out he's not, but it was just filed to protect the interest of the bankruptcy estate. But again, it's part of the process where a trustee, usually a trustee or a creditor, can come in and just contest the bankruptcy process. And at that point, consider like any other civil case where you go through the process of going through discovery, the exchange of financial documents. You have mediation. Hopefully, you can settle and work things out there. And if not, ultimately, you'll have that trial before the judge to decide how we're going to handle this situation. So there you go. You're now experts on the adversary process. You know what it is and how it's now currently being applied to Rudy Giuliani's case. All right. So it is 187 degrees outside, like I said. I'm out of here. Time to cool down. And when the sun goes down, go smoke my cigar. Go smoke your cigar. Have a good time. And I'll see you at the next video. Take care, everybody.